currently looking at the mobile launcher platform and one of the solid rocket boosters. ICE team is on the zero level of the platform, making inspections, scanning the orbiter vehicle, recording temperatures, and making note of anything that looks unusual. One of the activities the team performs at this level is pulling down of some sensors that are located in between the space shuttle orbiter and the external tank. You can see the lines to those sensors are to the left-hand side of the booster, in between the two boosters. Once the ICE team finishes their inspection, they'll be coming back here to the Launch Control Center, and they'll make a report to launch controllers on their findings at the launch pad. The STS-65 crew has been preparing for about a year for this flight today. Today will be the beginning of their 14 days on orbit. And we have a picture of Bob Cabana now, commander of this flight. He's just completed a weather briefing and very optimistic today about today's launch. Cabana is a member of the red team for mission STS-65. STS-65 pilot Jim Halsell, also a member of the red team, flying for the first time today on the space shuttle. Mission specialist and payload commander for this flight, Rick Heeb. He's flying for the third time today on the space shuttle. He's a member of the red team. He'll be working inside the IML Space Lab as part of the science crew with some primary responsibility for activities going on in flight. And across the room, we've got mission specialist Carl Walls. Ready to go today? Walls is a member of the blue team. Mission specialist Leroy Chow. He's part of the Space Lab science crew. He's flying for the first time today. Mission specialist Don Thomas. Thomas is born in Cleveland, Ohio. He's a member of the blue team, flying for the first time today. And we have Japanese payload specialist Chiaki Mukai. She's making history in Japan as the first woman to fly into space from Japan. Mukai is a member of the red team and also part of the Space Lab science crew. She'll be involved in the science activities going on in the International Microgravity Laboratory for the flight. Commander Bob Cabana, got pilot Jim Halsell.
Good morning. Thank you all. We're going to have a great flight. Thank you.
Flight crew will be making communications checks with the test conductors here at KSC and also at Mission Control. They'll be talking to the flight controllers there.
MS1, loud and clear. MS2, loud and clear. MS3, loud and clear. MS4, loud and clear.
TS1, loud and clear.
Copy, have you loud and clear also, going back to air to ground 1.
T-minus 8 minutes and counting.
PLT, OTC.
OTC, PLT, that is complete.
Okay, I copy.
NTD Houston flight?
Go flight.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to give a go for the RTLS weather, both the observed and forecast conditions, and we're go for launch.
I copy, thank you. Launch director? Launch director, NTD 212.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Flight has cleared his weather constraint and air go, and that puts us fully ready to proceed.
Okay, stand by, and MMT chairman.
Roger, our weather constraint is cleared to launch.
Okay, copy. Well, with that NTD, you can take out the hold pending at 5 minutes and see if we can keep the clock going for another 7.
TLS copies. Roger that, thank you. TLS is go for orbiter access arm retract.
T-minus 7 minutes and counting. We've gotten a clearance to launch today. RTLS weather is going to hold out for us for a 12:43 p.m. Eastern Time launch. Also, the weather at our TAL site is also clear for launch today. The orbiter's access arm is being retracted away from the vehicle at this time.
OTC, MS2, TV power is taken on.
Copy, MS2.
OTC, ECL.
Go ahead.
The fast heaters are still on.
Copy. CDR, OTC.
Roger, far step, speed line heaters coming off. OTC, CDR, that's complete.
Copy.
The gaseous oxygen vent hood is now being retracted away from the shuttle.
OTC, PLT, the caution warning is clear, but no unexpected errors.
Copy, PLT. And with that, Columbia, OTC, I'd like to wish you all a very successful 2 weeks on orbit, and with that, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow.
Roger, thanks, Randy, and initiating O2 flow.
TLS is go for ET, LH2 pressurization.
T-minus 20 seconds.
15.
T-minus 10, 9, 8. We have a go for engine start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff. Liftoff of Columbia on a multi-nation research flight.
Houston, Columbia, roll program.
Roger, roll, Columbia.
Houston now controlling. Columbia underway on its 17th trip to space. Columbia already traveling 250 miles an hour. Three engines on board Columbia now throttling back to 2/3 throttle to prepare the spacecraft to pass through the area of maximum air pressure and go supersonic.
Columbia, go at throttle up.
Roger, go throttle up.
Columbia's three engines now back at full throttle. Booster officer confirms a good separation of the solid rockets. Altitude now 172,000 feet. Columbia 33 miles east of the Kennedy Space Center. Now traveling 3,500 miles an hour.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm downlinking mid-deck through the camcorder, and you should have a still picture of us sitting on the flight deck right now.
That's affirmative. We got a real good picture, Bob.
Okay, well, here it comes. I'll narrate. This is just after main engine start, and the solids are going to light off here, and we're going uphill. We just completed the roll program there. I'll tell you, it was a beautiful day for a launch. The main engine's lit on time, and Carl was a little worried from his previous flights, not worried, but he doesn't get excited until the solids lit. And then when the solids lit, we took off. It was great. I wish we could show you what you were seeing out the windows. Unfortunately, where the camera's placed, all we can get is the shaking inside. It, as you can see, vibrates pretty good on the solids, and we're being pushed back in our seats a fair amount, but nothing compared to the last 2 minutes of the flight when the main engines are really accelerating us out to our orbital velocity.
I tell you, Bob, from our perspective, this is great footage. We just never seen anything quite like it.
Well, pay attention. We're coming up to SRB SEP pretty soon here. You can see the flash out the front windows. Jim and I have cue cards over the HUD to block the sunlight coming in so we can see all the displays, but you'll still see the flash from the SEP motors around the sides of them.
CLS's go from main engine start.
All vents open.
20, SRB ignition.
Liftoff confirmed.
Houston, Columbia, roll program.
Roger, roll, Columbia.
Depot sees the roll. Thank you. Guidance, your Delta State processor look good? Looks good. Thank you. Booster, how the 3 engines look?
Negative return.
Columbia, Houston, negative return.
Booster flight?
Go flight.
Roger,
3 engines
negative
look
return.
solid?
3 engines look real good flying.
Thank you. Prop, you go for the photo DTO?
Go.
I know how we doing it, Miko.
Nominal velocity flight. No underspeed, no zone required. Go for the
Okay.
photo DTO.
Capcom?
ETSAP.
Okay. Nominal.
Columbia Houston, nominal MECO, no ohms, 1 required. Go for the ET photo DTO.
Roger, go for the ET photo DTO, nominal MECO, pulse X in work.
Seconds, hand over to Tetris.
Elevator Mech Power System.
This is Jim trying to float for the first time in his life.
Go for it, man.
This feels really weird.
Okay, I'm going to call the ground here.
Jim is floating.
Houston, Columbia, KU band antenna deployed. All nominal. I'll let them get into the quadrant of power first.
Oh, we got a CPL.
We do.
Okay. It smells like a lab. Okay, what's the next step? Open hatch for detail. Turn the light on.
Well, Rick, we're glad to see you folks come floating out of the tunnel. Now we're assured that this just isn't a mock-up somewhere on the ground.
Well, we had to look out the window and make sure that there's really a space lab out there.
The electrophoresis unit is used to separate proteins, and what we're doing today is we're trying to separate a mixture of proteins by applying an electric field against the current, a flow of a buffer solution with the sample stream of the protein. Okay, I'll just kind of go from top to bottom here. Okay. This is the Ramsey's facility here, and on the top is the power supply, followed by the control and display keyboard here, where we control all the pumps and input all the different things. This is the stowage, one of the stowage compartment. And here we have the different sample trays for the different experiments we're going to run. We have in here drawers that slide out. These are the sample bags here. This is the sample of the stuff that we're going to separate. We also have some more of these sample things in the prim, and after we're done collecting, we freeze the samples in the prim. Coming down, this is the main cell here. This is where the electrophoresis happens. And here's the cell buffer pump. It's a peristaltic pump with a bunch of different tubes, and that's the medium that you separate the stuff in. This is the sample compartment. The sample just slides right in here, another peristaltic pump pumps the sample up through the chamber, where it then, kind of separates like that. And this is the collection area. This is the collection tray, and the different, each 41, it collects every 41, all 41 samples, different ports. And this is just some of the plumbing of the equipment, the different fluid loops, couple valves, things like that. That, in a nutshell, is the Ramses facility.
I'm standing here next to Biorack. I think of Biorack as sort of a mini space station because it's got, these are fruit flies, one of many experiments. There's some 200 containers with different science going on in most of them. It's got centrifuges for 1G controls. You can see those in the background. It's got incubators that run at 2 different temperatures, and there's experiments from all over the world in Biorack, so it's a lot of fun to work because there's a lot of different things. It's got its own cooler, and down below it's got a glove box so that we can work with toxic things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to work with in space because we keep them contained inside the glove box. So here I'm putting some things in there, and here's a shot from right in front just as I'm loading some things into the centrifuge. We stop the centrifuge, put some containers in. That way we can do controls on board, do the exact same thing. They're in the exact same environment, except that some are being spun at 1G and some are being kept at 0G. And today, just for example, besides the fruit flies, I've irrigated some lentil seeds, which are going to be growing in space, and then we'll fix them later and sort of capture their development. Here I'm getting into stowage for Nazimi, which lives right next to Biorack and has a lot of similarity or a lot of relationship with Biorack. It's different in that it's got a variable speed centrifuge. Meanwhile, Chiaki is over on at the workbench rack working on some experiments that will go into FFEU. Here she's borrowing the Biorack glove box to inject some fluids from one syringe into another. She's going to use these to run in the FFEU electrophoresis unit, which we were able to rescue by sort of repeated IFMs earlier in the week. So we've been very happy to get to do some FFEU work because it's one of the facilities on board. And in fact, it was the last facility to repair. We've now had all the facilities working. In fact, we kind of added up over the course of the flight. We've been able to rescue significant parts of 5 of the 20 or so facilities on board with IFMs, between the newt, removing the newt, which was required to keep the fish package alive, and repairing the Eris Echo machine, which was required for both EDOMP and the Canadian spinal changes in microgravity, and then, of course, the FFEU that I already talked about, and the sort of lucky touch with the fingers to get the HRM data from the RRMD. Chiaki's using a microscope here, just as you would on the ground, to look at the condition of the cells that are in these little cassettes. Here's a look at the Medaka, the fish that are in one of those little packages. Two males, 2 females. In the lower right corner, you might be able to pick out some eggs. It's a little bit hard to tell that.
Leroy.
Go ahead, George.
Yeah, the NASA team traced back the last usage of that CCK mic, and it was during the newt injection, so it may have been left in the space lab.
And Space Lab Huntsville, for Otoconia, just looking at the eggs quickly before I put them in, looks like we have stages, I'm just guessing right now, looking by eye 35 to 38 with most of the eggs here. Some of them have clearly defined tail buds, and I can see the tails and some of the gills starting to form with some of the eggs there. So they all look pretty healthy here. I can see maybe one or two possibly eggs that aren't doing so well, but the other ones are all looking good.
Okay, Don, that's very good news.
Now we got trans 4 here under the camera. Okay, so IFM W-48 for step 3, wait till the nozzle temps are greater than 200, and I'll check back when complete. We'll put it in work right away.
That's correct, Carl, and be advised you have 11 hours volage already accomplished in the dump.
Okay.
And Don, just wanted to let you know that we've got live downlink now from the Bio-Rack glove box.
Yeah, welcome inside.
He was back there busily working on experiments. The scientists back there have a real difficult timeline. Here's a reenactment. I just want to show you how Rick filled the syringe to overpressure the pump. We squeezed out a ball of water on the end of the straw, and that straw is not touching the syringe. The ball of water is just floating freely, and Rick is pulling back on the end of the syringe, sucking the water into it with no air. It really works slick.
And what I'd like to do this morning is give you a brief explanation about one of the major facilities we have here on IML2. And this is the AAEU, which is short for Aquatic Animal Experiment Unit. And essentially this is an aquarium in space. Divided up into two halves. Over here we have the aquatic package, and on the other side we have the fish package. And in the aquatic package we have 4 water tanks. I'll pull one out here. And 3 of these tanks have red-bellied Japanese newts in them, and I'll hold this up so you can see it. We have 1 newt in 2 of the containers, and then one of the tanks we have 2 newts in there. And in all the tanks we have an egg chamber also with many different newt eggs in them, up to 70 or 80 eggs per water tank here. And what we're doing with this experiment is having the newts lay eggs in space, and we're interested in how these eggs develop, multiply and develop under zero-gravity conditions. And we'll compare these eggs to those grown on the ground, the ones that have developed under 1G conditions. So this is one of our red-bellied newts. One of them that I looked at just a few days ago, if you were watching, has laid 36 eggs already, so we know we have a number of great eggs for the scientists to look at. Besides the astronewts here, we have another tank with fish in it called Medaka. And these are small killfish. They're about the size of guppies. And we have 4 in there, 2 males and 2 females. And in this experiment, we're interested in the mating behavior of the guppies, of the Medaka fish here. And then on the fish package, we have goldfish. You might have seen some of the downlink from this, and I'll shine the light on there, and hopefully you can get a view of some of the fish swimming by. We have 6 different goldfish in here, and as you can see, they're looping around. They don't quite know which way is up, since we don't have a gravity vector here for them, and we've been watching and monitoring their swimming behavior for the last couple of days. We have a door up here that we open and close to give them the day-night cycles, just like they would have on the ground.
Okay, Don, we have some very good video of the goldfish now.
Okay, copy that. Let me know if you like the focus changed at all. I tried to get it in the center, right on their eyes.
Okay, PI says focus is very good.
Okay, copy. That's great. Okay, copy. Cooler transfer 4 containers but to PTC1, Rack 1, Charlie.
That's a good copy. And these containers are 107 bone 3 from 108 bones 4.
Space Huntsville for Leroy. We are getting downlink right now, and we're about to go LOS.
Huntsville, Space Lab for Kimberly.
Go ahead, Leroy.
Kimberly, before I begin TEI, I'd like to reposition the slime mold here. If the PIs agree, I'm going to recenter the target.
That's affirmative, Leroy. The PI on the ground was just saying the same thing. We're going to have you do it after TEI, but you can go ahead.
Roger that.
Jim and his tape change out. I heard you kept him really busy this morning back there.
And Huntsville Station on full duty.
Go, Chiaki.
Yeah, Judy, thanks for waiting, and I'm ready to copy.
Huntsville Space Lab on Tempest. We want to do APO4, right? We're going to power cycle it.
That's affirmative. They were resetting some of their internal software, and they need you to do a restart.
Okay, it's coming right now.
Don sending a Panem message home before he goes to bed. Panem's really nice. It's nice to be able to communicate through the modem back and forth with folks back home, and even you, Mario. And I left this in probably a little longer than I should. I just recording the MET and stuff here before I get started on the readings between the commanders and pilot seat on the flight deck. I just thought it was really neat to be able to work with equipment like this. You really adapt to microgravity very quickly, and it seems totally natural. Just using a piece of equipment, setting it off to the side, letting it float, and then writing something down or going off to something else. It just seems like you've been doing it all your life once you've been up here for a while. And my final scene for this morning, Chiaki was able to talk to the children at Tadabayashi School in her hometown via Sarex. Sarex has been a lot of fun. She wasn't talking directly via Sarex, but through a bridge in Hawaii, and she really enjoyed that. The children enjoyed it immensely, and it really has been nice to be able to talk to school children around the world. We've covered the southern U.S., Tokyo, and Germany now on this flight, and it always is an encouragement to them and to us to hear how excited they are about space exploration and answer their questions. I've been looking at a new lens, well, not a new lens, a different lens on the Hasselblad camera. Same lens we always fly, but instead of the infinity stop set on the ground, we're focusing it in flight and looking at a different couple of different focusing screens to see how we might get more accurate pictures. We do an excellent job, as you know, documenting the changes in the Earth on our shuttle missions, and the Earth is constantly changing, and we want to ensure that we have the best pictures possible when we get home.
South. Okay, it's going to be north. You will see it come out from underneath your wing. There's Orlando. Okay, there it is. There it is. Beautiful.
altitude on time, about 10 minutes.
Okay, now we're going to go free drift when our rates are raised. You see them? Within 0.1, not yet. Yeah, that's within 0.1. Okay, all right. Free drift. Yeah, it's...
Okay, good.
What time, Jim? Okay, we're starting to decelerate now. Yeah, we got about 1.3 Gs right now, fellas. Mach 15, prop 10.
Prop is 32 is low.
Okay, good to go.
I agree.
1.2 Gs right now. Going very fast. Don't touch it.
Speed brake, waiting for 179. 179 on you.
Good.
Coming.
Relocate.
I see 1, 1.5, 1, 1.5. Okay, brake ISOs are open. 126.
It's very quiet here in Mission Control. All of Columbia's systems continuing to perform in excellent fashion. There are no issues at all in the room. Sonic booms announcing Columbia's arrival in the landing area. The landing gear is now down. Main gear touchdown. And nose gear touchdown. Columbia completing its 17th voyage in space, completing 236 orbits of the Earth, rolling out on runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center, completing 6,143,000 miles.
Flight repositioning is completed and the probes are in transit.
Thank you. On glide slope on center line.
Okay, on and on.
Columbia Houston, on glide slope on center line, surface winds 150 at 4.
Roger. Maneuver complete. Houston, Columbia, we'll stop.
Roger, we'll stop. Welcome home, Columbia. Excellent, excellent job. Your record of 15 days on orbit for the shuttle has brought us closer to the next giant leap for humankind when we live permanently in space aboard the International Space Station.